Mom handed me a folder and said proudly, "I used your savings to pay your brother's mortgage. You'll thank me someday." I smiled and said, "Maybe." An hour later, her phone rang. I watched her face drain as the bank informed her the transfer had been reversed. 2 minutes later, headlights swept across the driveway. "Leo, don't you dare walk away from this table!" Mom's voice cracked through the dining room, echoing off the marble. The chandelier above us swayed slightly from the draft, or maybe from the tension. Dad's glass of wine sat half drunk in front of him. My brother, Dean, leaned back with that practiced smirk he'd used his whole life, the one that said he'd already won. "I didn't steal it," Dean said, voice dripping with fake calm. "Mom made the call. Ask her." Mom's hand trembled as she clutched a folder, thick, blue, sealed. "I told you, Leo," she said softly. "It was for family. For us. I used your savings to pay Dean's mortgage. You'll thank me someday." Silence swallowed the room. Even the clock on the wall seemed to hesitate. I stared at her, then at the folder. "You used my savings?" She nodded, eyes watering, but still proud. "We did what was right." My jaw tightened. "No, Mom. You did what was easy." The air shifted. Dad slammed his glass down, wine splattering across the white tablecloth. "Don't talk to your mother that way. You've always been ungrateful." And then Dean smirked again, leaning forward. "You're lucky we even keep you around, Leo. You don't bring much to the table anyway." Something in me went still, perfectly still, and that silence scared them more than shouting ever could. "My name's Leo Callan, 26, software engineer. The quiet one. The kind of son who fixed the Wi-Fi, paid the bills on time, and made sure the family business didn't fall apart behind Dad's ego. But in this house, silence meant weakness. They thought I didn't notice the way they used me. The good son who could always spare a little extra. The one who didn't cause scenes. What they never realized was that silence keeps records, and I had every record. When Mom said she used my savings, I didn't yell. I just looked at her and said, "Maybe." She thought that meant forgiveness. It didn't. Family members introduced. Dean, 28, the golden boy. Smooth talker, real estate agent, drives a Tesla I paid for once. He called it a loan I'll get back to. Spoiler, he didn't. Dad, Charles, corporate executive, always talking about legacy, though the only legacy he left was resentment. Mom, Evelyn, beautiful, composed, and terrifyingly blind to her own bias. She calls it love. I call it favoritism, polished to shine like grace. Dinner that night was a performance, one they'd all rehearsed. Dean bragged about closing a deal. Dad praised him for carrying the Callan name with pride. When I spoke, no one looked up. Then Mom said it, casual as breathing. "I used your account to help Dean stay afloat. You weren't using it anyway." She didn't expect me to know the exact number, 148,327.19. And she didn't expect me to have noticed the missing transfer the moment it left. By dessert, I already had a plan. Mom's words kept replaying, "You'll thank me someday." That phrase had followed me my whole life, when they made me sell my car so Dean could invest. When I skipped college parties to help Dad with accounting, when Mom used my credit to fix the kitchen Dean destroyed. I stood near the window, watching my reflection. Calm, unreadable. "Leo," Mom said softly, "you're not angry, are you?" I turned, smiled faintly. "No, Mom. I've seen this before. You've always played this game." Dad frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," I said slowly, "you only remember I exist when you need something fixed." Dean laughed. "You're so dramatic, man." "Maybe," I said, "but maybe not this time. And when Mom slipped, I had to do it, Leo. You weren't using the money anyway, and Dean needed it for the house before." "Before what?" I asked quietly. Her eyes darted toward Dad. The room went silent again. Dad stood up. "Enough. You're making your mother uncomfortable." "Uncomfortable?" I repeated. "You used my future as a safety net for your favorite son." Dean muttered. You act like it's the end of the world. You'll make more. I stepped closer. And you'll take more, right? Mom started crying. Leo, please. I cut her off with a whisper. Do you ever notice that when Dean fails, you call it sacrifice, and when I succeed, you call it luck? Even Dad couldn't meet my eyes, Dean sneered. Oh, come on. You think you're some martyr? I smiled, calm and cold. No, I just think you've never met consequences. The mood shifted like thunder rolling in. Mom whispered, Leo, what did you do? Nothing yet, I said, but the night's still young. It wasn't the first time they'd taken from me. When I was 16, Dad asked me to co-sign for Dean's first car. He promised it'd build my credit. 2 years later, I learned Dean had defaulted, and my credit was gone. When Mom begged me to lend her my college savings to cover an emergency, I found out it was for Dean's engagement ring. The night I walked home in the rain after Dean crashed my car and called it a lesson in responsibility, I promised myself something. I'd never let them humiliate me again. But I broke that promise again and again, until tonight. And what Mom didn't know was that my savings account wasn't just money. It was connected. Every transaction logged, monitored, reversible. I had learned to build systems that protect people from theft. Tonight, that included me. Mom's phone buzzed. She picked it up and I watched her face pale as the voice on the other end spoke. What? That's not possible. It just went through an hour ago. Her hands trembled. The transfer. It's been reversed. All of it. Dad stood up sharply. Reversed? How? Dean's smile vanished. Wait, Leo, what did you do? I leaned back in my chair. You didn't just steal from me, you stole from a joint trust. Technically, that's fraud. Mom gasped. You wouldn't... I met her eyes. You've taught me plenty about what family would or wouldn't do. Dean slammed the table. You can't destroy us like this. I stood, calm as ever. I didn't destroy you. I just stopped protecting you. The sound of a car pulling up outside broke the silence. Headlights swept across the driveway. Bank investigator, right on time. The house erupted, shouting, denial, pleading. Mom tried to explain. Dad tried to threaten. Dean tried to blame me. But I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. I gave you all my silence, I said evenly. Tonight, I give you the truth. Mom's tears came fast. We're still family, Leo. Family doesn't make you their insurance policy. Dean spat. You're dead to us. I nodded once. Finally honest. For a moment, even Dad looked smaller, his posture collapsing under the weight of it all. And then, the front door opened. A man in a suit stepped in, holding documents. Mrs. Callan, we need to discuss the unauthorized transaction. Mom's sob broke like glass. When I walked out that night, the air felt different. Cold. Clean. Free. Dean shouted something behind me, but I didn't hear the words. Just the sound of a life I was done living. Mom came after me, barefoot on the driveway. Leo, wait. Please, we can fix this. I turned. You can. By learning to live without me. Her eyes softened. I never meant to hurt you. I know, I said quietly. But you never meant to stop either. I got in my car, started the engine, and for the first time didn't look back. They'll never see me the same again, I thought. And I don't need them to. Weeks later, I visited my old apartment. My accounts were mine again. No fake emergencies, no guilt texts, no manipulation masked as love. Mom sent one message. I miss you. I'm sorry. Dean moved out. Your father's quiet these days. I typed and erased my reply 3 times before settling on 4 words. I hope you heal. Because revenge wasn't the victory. Peace was. I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. As I stood by my window that night, the city lights reflecting in the glass, I whispered to myself, for the first time, I don't carry their weight anymore. If you were in my place, would you forgive them? Would you give them another chance? Or walk away forever? Tell me in the comments. Your voice matters here. If Leo's story hit something inside you, if you've ever been the quiet one, the forgotten one, the used one, share your story below. Like if you felt his strength. Subscribe for more stories that heal through truth, because silence can hurt, but telling your story, that's how you take your power back.